Well, it's Saturday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW were in Chicago for the annual All Out. We're just 2 weeks from All In Wembley Stadium. But however, the journey does not end here. As you know, Bryan Danielson defends his belt against Jack Perry. But as you know, Jack Perry believes he's destined to become the world champion. We even have the TBS champion defended, tag team titles, intercontinental international championship, the continental championship. But however, our main event, this feud has gone long enough. It's Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland in an unsanctioned steel cage match. The real question is, who will walk out as the victor? Will it be Hangman Page finally getting his revenge for Swerve for all the things he cost him? Or Swerve once again shows him who is his house? Well, we'll find out as soon enough. But after that, we will also, of course, do some news updates to keep you guys updated on what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions set aside, it's time to hit a home run. So let's begin with our only review we're going to do for today, AEW All Out. Okay, AEW All Out. So, we're not going to do the 0 hour, so I decided to skip it for today, just to save time for everyone. Now, our opening match is MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Now, this feud went back a few months ago. As you all remember, MJF, well, he went back to his old ways again, and then he thought that he got rid of Daniel Garcia once and for all. But he came back to, in fact, get his revenge on MJF. Then he threw in the story that he was the one who stole his diamond ring to get to All In. But however, in reality, MJF's ring was stolen, so that's what happened. But however, you ask yourself how this match was going to be. I mean, many people believed in this, that Daniel Garcia had this match won, but if it wasn't for MJF giving a low blow and, of course, a pile driver, he picked up this win just like that. However, as you know the old saying goes, fool me once, shame on me. fool me twice. Shame on you. Well, Daniel Garcia learned his lesson because he knew don't trust MJF. He tried to extend in hand, but however, Daniel Garcia got a little bit of measure revenge, even if he did not win the match. So he low blowed him, and then he put him in a avalanche pile driver, just like that, and then later just gave him a kiss on the cheek and just left through the audience. So I thought that was a pretty good moment for him to do. Now our next match, this is for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks defend their belts against the BCC, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. Now this came about this past week when, of course, Claudio confessed that he and Yuta are not doing nothing. So of course, this was going to be one of those matches where things were going to go exactly like that. However, I think many people were wondering, could the BCC be the team to, of course, to pull it off? No, I mean, the Bucks always have different ways of walking out. I mean, there was that rocket launch. Nick actually blocked it with his knees, but did help him to put Wheeler Yuta in a inside cradle to retain belts. But sooner or later, someone will have no other choice but to take those belts off of the Bucks. But that's only a matter of time till we'll see it. Now, our next match, this is for the International Championship. Now, of course, Will Ospreay, as you know, he regained this belt after defeating MJF. And then Pac, as you know, said that prior he gets a match against MJF, that he got all out. So he called his shot. So basically it's the battle of the Brits in some capacity. I mean, two guys who are explosive, who have been popular in Japan. But you know that Pac would know exactly what Will Ospreay do. That's one of his trademarks. He will think exactly what he would do. But however, Will Ospreay was able to try to dodge everything, but he was able to apply a hidden blade to retain the belt. But however, Ricochet, on the other hand, was watching this. But however, later on, it did show that Will Ospreay and Ricochet confronted each other. So basically, you know, I think Ricochet just was trying to find out what the hell was that all about the last time. As you guys remember, when he made his debut, Will Ospreay showed up, and then of course Pac insulted him. But yeah, we'll see. Now our next match is a Chicago street fight. Now this was not for the CML Women's World Title. According to Willow Nightingale, she said that the big bosses in CML won't sanction it. So basically they couldn't allow it. So basically Willow Nightingale had no other choice but to proceed with without using the belt on the line. So this match went into a Chicago street fight. Of course, Willow Nightingale is no strangers into these type of street fight match. But however, this is more of the conclusion between both Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale in some capacity. As you know, Chris Statlander turned on Willow after losing the TBS title to Mercedes Moné. And then back and forth, Chris was not satisfied. She was determined to destroy Willow Nightingale in every way aspect, including costing her an opportunity at the Owen Hart tournament. And now then when she won the CML Women's World Title, that kind of put it into play. But however, like I said, CML refuses to sanction the match. But of course this match was brutal. There was a lot of things. Even thumbtacks were in play. But however, the moment with those thumbtacks, we did see, of course, Willow try to do Chris Statlander was planning to do like a one of the Booker T kick, and ended up in the splits and just landed on her thighs on the thumbtacks. I thought that was brutal. But however, of course, Chris Statlander played a little bit of I'm sorry moment, but later she pile drived Willow, then used a chain around her neck and mouth to force her to give up. So this could be like the conclusion between them, but we'll see how that rolls up. Because Willow Nightingale, we do know she has a lot of things coming up in her life. I did mention on a news update that she will be defending the CML Women's title in Mexico later on this month. Now our next match, we have a four-way match for the Continental Championship. We have Orange Cassidy versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe, and then of course the champion himself, Kazuchika Okada. Now, this is a very interesting dynamic in some aspects. You know, those some people say there's an advantage between both Briscoe and OC because A, they're part of the conglomerations. But however, it doesn't matter to them because they bring out the best in each other, either in teaming or tag team. That's one of the things that makes them unique away from everybody else. But the other dynamic is between Konosuke Takeshita and Okada, these two guys who have been well recognized in their respective promotions back in Japan. Okada from New Japan, Konosuke Takeshita in DDT. So some people would think, okay, maybe Takeshita has the ability to, in fact, defeat Okada and be the guy at the top. However, that did not happen because Takeshita applied a Rainmaker on Orange Cassidy and walked away to retain the belt. But a part of me would like to think that maybe this thing between Takeshita and Okada is not done yet. So hopefully we can see a somewhat of a match between those two. I think many fans will want to see it. Now our next match is the TBS title, Hikaru Shida versus Mercedes Moné. Now of course, Camille was banned from ringside by orders of Christopher Daniels. So basically that's how the whole thing happened. However, I think there's an aggressive side towards Hikaru Shida at some point. But however, she's been frustrated because A, she did not get her Wembley moment. A, she felt like she needed to do more, like maybe reach the top. And she aimed for the TBS title, which she did. However, she was about to do the kendo stick, but because she brought to herself into her senses, it cost her the match, allowing for Mercedes Moné to apply the moneymaker, and just like that, it was over. So we'll see where Hikaru Shida will go, but I think many people would question who will be the next person to challenge Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. That's an excellent question. We will see somewhere down the line. Now our next match, this is for the AEW World title. Jack Perry versus Bryan Danielson. This match came about after Bryan Danielson became the AEW World Champion, and he celebrated on Dynamite, not this past Dynamite, but the week before. However, Jack Perry felt, he is destined to become World Champion, and he wants to be the one to end Bryan Danielson's career. So that's the whole thing. And of course, the Elite would stop at nothing to get that title back into the Elite where it rightfully belongs. You would think that was the case. Now, of course, Jack Perry would do everything in his power to put him down, but nothing. But there was a moment where, of course, Bryan Danielson applied the Busaiku knee onto the ref by accident, thanks to Jack Perry. And then, what a surprise, the Elite showed up. And then, of course, Yuta and Claudio showed up on the defensive. And then it took another Busaiku knee by Bryan Danielson to retain the belt. And then afterwards, while the celebration started, Killswitch showed up, and of course, it's no secret, Christian Cage, the scum of the earth, decided to take advantage of the situation and try to cash in his opportunity for the AEW World title. Well, it was stopped when the Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio and Pac showed up, and of course, Christian Cage, who of course retreated knowing that he had no intensity. But however, this is where things got a little shocking. While the celebration was going, Claudio Castagnoli gave an European uppercut to Bryan Danielson, and then Jon Moxley used a plastic bag onto Bryan Danielson. And of course, we don't know what was going on. This was something we did not anticipate. But there were people that were talking about that moment, about what William Regal said the last time when he left AEW. So you got to ask yourself the question, that they actually were talking about turning against each other in some capacity? I don't know. I mean, it seems like it. But Wheeler Yuta was trying to reach Bryan Danielson, like he was in disbelief that he can't believe what happened. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that recently Moxley has been acting up strangely. I mean, attacking anybody, including talking about Darby Allin. He wants to talk to him. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our main event, is the unsanctioned steel cage match between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. Now, this feud went back a long time, like about maybe a year ago, earlier this year, or a year ago or so. Now, let's recap what happened. Hangman Page has made a decision that he wants to regain the AEW World title, but however, Swerve Strickland decided to butt in on his matter, so he tried to squeeze his opportunity for a shot of the title by even going into his family home where his wife was asleep, his kid was there, and of course Hangman felt disgusted that people were supporting Swerve for what he did. And then ever since Hangman returned, his priority is to destroy Swerve Strickland. That was what he was trying to do. And of course, he cost Swerve the AEW World title at All In. And then, of course, Swerve is trying to tell him, do yourself a favor. Go home. Be a family man. That's where you need to be. Leave the real stuff to me. And he tells him what kind of man he should be for his kids. Well, he gave that answer the week later when he burned his childhood home, which is a measure of revenge for what he did. So it's more like he told him that he took a long time to find him, but he did. And now it's like you can tell Swerve would love nothing to, of course, to destroy him. But however, Hangman Page told him he wants him to beg for mercy. Of course, Swerve refuses to beg for mercy, but Prince Nana, who was concerned for his well-being, told him, just beg. But he refuses. And then he pulled out a syringe and put it in his mouth. I don't know what was in the syringe. And then, bam! Just like that, he whacked him with something with the chair, and just like that, match was over. So, you can say, are they finally even? They will like this. The commentators Tony Schiavone would like to think that maybe yes, but we will see what happens until then. We know Hangman has been unhinged, deranged about everything, but we will pay close attention to Hangman Page coming this Wednesday, and we'll see what happens after All Out. But for right now, we are done with everything with this review. Let's move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions. We have right now a whole lot with GCW. Now, on the 20th of September, they will be in Philadelphia for Aura. The GCW World title will be defended. Mance Warner will defend the belt against the biggest a-hole on the planet, Tony Deppen. So let's see what Tony Deppen would do. And then, of course, the following day in Hartford, Connecticut for back-to-back, we have Matt Tremont taking on Brandon Kurt. And then after that, they'll be doing a 2-day show in Atlantic City for Fight Club between the 12th and the 13th of October. And this is the names who will be participating. We have Deathmatch Royalty, Mance Warner, Zilla Fatu, Masha Slamovich, and Effie. And also they added the Art of War's War Games match. So we don't know who will be involved, but I will give you guys an update for that. And then, of course, on the 18th of October in Denver for War Ready, this is who they announced who will be there. Mance Warner, Megan Bayne, Gringo Loco, Dark Sheik, Zilla Fatu, Joey Janela, Effie, and there's more names to come. So we'll get to that at some point. MLW will have their upcoming Fightland event on the 14th September. I think that's this weekend. Donovan Dijak will be going against Timothy Thatcher. Once again, RevPro has brought back the British J Cup, which is a shot for the Cruiserweight title. That will take place a one-day tournament on 28th of September. And they already announced 3 names. Barbaro Carvenado, Cameron Kai, and Leo Rush. I'm sure there'll be more names to be mentioned, but we will see what happens. For the Roseline event, collaboration between Deadlock Pro Wrestling, West Coast Pro, and Prestige, the Deadlock Pro Wrestling World Title will be defended. Calvin Techman defends the belt against Donovan Dijak. And then, of course, we have Kylie Ray versus Zaya Zhao, or as you know her, Zaya Lee. And then finally, another name has been announced for the upcoming Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in Canada for the Forge and Insolence between the 19th and the 20th of October. We have someone from the Dark Order being there, and that is Stu Grayson. So I'm so happy to hear that. Now for some developments here. I could not get this out earlier, but luckily I decided to do so. Congratulations to Tenille Dashwood and her husband Mike Rollis. As you all know, she's expecting their first child, so we don't know if they will return to wrestling. We know that Tenille Dashwood likes to travel, but we will see what happens. But I like to say congratulations, guys. Now, recently WWE has been re-signing wrestlers, and 3 names have been announced. We have Shayna Baszler, Cedric Alexander, and the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Jacqueline Moore, many of you know her, who during her time in WWE and TNA, well, she just signed a contract with WWE for a Legends contract, so she'll be making appearances and such. As you all know, we saw Julia made her NXT appearance. She hasn't had her in-ring debut just yet. However, she will have that this coming Tuesday, and her first opponent is the person she beat the crap out of, Chelsea Green. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, MVP, 2 things have developed about him. Well, apparently, some people were saying that the reason he said that Triple H was a racist, and he said that no, I never said Triple H was racist. Hulk Hogan is. He even admit that himself. So basically, he's trying to put people in check, like saying, "Look, I did not say this. This is what I said." So that was one of the things that he kind of talked. Now, regarding more with MVP, he did talked about, of course, the Hurt Business. Now, remember, people were not happy. I mean, they were one of the most interesting factions we like to see, and they never gone further. But however, he talked about maybe that the Hurt Business is dead, and he talked about this. The Hurt Business is dead. It was killed off by the powers that be at WWE. I can say this myself, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. We're talking among ourselves about we want to going forward. I'll just say, stay tuned. Stay tuned for me, Bobby, and Shelton have talked about what we want to do again, and I'll say it, stay tuned. MVP mentioned this on the KNS WrestleFest. So it looks like he's planning something, we just don't know what. But, however, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. Willow Nightingale was on the Battleground news or something, and she talked about Mercedes Moné, and this is what she had to say. I think we come a long way just in 2 years that I've been here. I think a lot of issues initially with the women's division were kind of steam in years stigma against women's wrestling. It's hard. There were years and years of stigma of being like, this bathroom break match, people immediately tune out before even give us a chance. Over the course of 5 years that AEW has been running, you've been over time, and we've had more spots on the show, more opportunities, more time, and that's because over the 5 years we've been forced people to pay attention to us. So with that, we get higher ratings, we get more people to trust us, we get more people paying attention, more equity, so that large in thanks to what we've done and women who were at AEW before me. We before me have done as well. But thanks to you fans for tuning. Keep doing that. Keep supporting us. Keep being very vocal online and about you want to see us in the bigger positions. I cannot deny the fact that Mercedes coming to our company has helped us, because she has. She's been an advocate for all of us in all of the division. I've always loved to see more for the women's matches main event, more regularly, or more matches on pay-per-view and big shows, but it's happening. It's happening. Just keep going with that working. So basically, people we have heard that people saying that the women's division was not that good, but Willow Nightingale wants people to pay attention, and I think that's what we should do. Now, an interesting thing came around from a X account called Lucha Blog. Now, there's this guy named Latin Lover who is the AAA director of talent, and this is what he said. They mentioned what you're missing in AAA this week is director of talent Latin Lover, in the midst of the press conference to promote AAA, explained that CML train 3 times a week. That's why they're better shaped and better wrestlers than AAA women. You know, he's not wrong in some capacity. I mean, I did stop watching AAA for some time now, but Latin Lover is paying attention, saying that these women in CML are better shaped and well, whatever he saw. He feels that AAA are not doing that. And I feel like he's maybe right. So some things have to change on that. I mean, when people talk about women's division here in the States, in the past, people in the last few years, people said the TNA said the women's division there was far more better than that, and I'm sure we've been seeing some improvement with WWE, and of course, just a little bit of improvement with the women and of course, in AEW. But we'll see how that progresses. And then finally, of course, we have Orange Cassidy says that AEW lets him be himself and how he's evolved over the years. And this is what he said. If I was somewhere else, I probably would be a pigeonholed in a certain type of thing and forgotten after a year. Fortunately, I work for AEW. No one forces me to do anything I don't want to do. They're also open for what I want to do. I'm very, very fortunate that AEW exists because I couldn't be sitting here talking to you if it wasn't. They let me be something unique, something new, and let me embrace it. I don't wrestle the same way I did 4 or 5 years ago, which is a credit to AEW to kind of let me grow. You know, he's right about one thing. He has changed a little bit. Like, for example, the kicks, those are one of the things he has changed. Like, it's slow and then he accelerated. That's something he has grown from. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, people learned to love Orange Cassidy. People still were not getting him, but he has grown, and AEW allowed him to be himself. Now, the real question is, will WWE would have allowed him to do that? Well, I don't know. That's something I don't know. But he is one of the most popular wrestlers in AEW. No doubt about that. So, yeah. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news update. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. First things first, I apologize that I couldn't do another review for this episode. Many of you probably were wondering why, because it was my dad's birthday. I can only focus on this. There was a New Japan event with celebrating Shingo Takagi's 20th anniversary. I'm not sure if I'll be able to review that, but we will see. But as we speak, I believe we do have Stardom continue on. And then, of course, we have Mighty Goal as they continue with more of the Dream Star Grand Prix. But we will see what happens. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.